Beast Mastery is a great starting spec for hunters right now. The rotation is easy to pick up and has no penalties for movement and does some of the best single target damage in the game. With 725, the frustration that comes with managing pets is being eased, and the impact of legendaries on your damage and rotation is being lowered. Hitting Kill Command makes your pet do high damage to its target. In 725, Kill Command's range is being raised from 25 to 40 yards from your pet. This will help a lot with target swapping to spread enemies. Dire Beast is your only way to generate focus, and because of its cooldown, there will be a decent amount of downtime in the rotation compared to other specs. In 725, Dire Beast will have 2 charges, making the rotation more active. Wild Call is a proc from your auto shots that resets the cooldown of Dire Beast. Cobra Shot is mainly used to get rid of extra focus. Multi-shot doesn't do a lot of damage on its own, but it gives your pets the buff Beast Cleave, which makes all of your pets' auto attacks AoE. Bestial Wrath is a short cooldown that increases you and your pet's damage. Dire Beast casts reduce the cooldown of Bestial Wrath by 15 seconds, making Wild Call procs even more important. Aspect of the Wild is a 2-minute cooldown that gives you extra focus per second and 10% crit. In 725, Aspect of the Wild will also reduce your global cooldown by 0.2 seconds to help you spend the extra focus. Titan's Thunder is a gold trait on your artifact. It is off the global cooldown, so if you don't want to think about hitting it, you can macro it to one of your abilities. Exhilaration is a good self-heal, and Aspect of the Turtle helps you avoid some raid mechanics. For single target, the talents are all pretty simple. Way of the Cobra is a passive that gives your Cobra Shot some extra damage based on how many pets you have out. Dire Frenzy replaces Dire Beast, and instead of summoning an extra pet, Dire Frenzy gives your pet a large haste buff and makes its next 5 attacks hit harder. Right now, Dire Frenzy gives you all of your focus at once instead of over time, but in 725 it is changing to give you 24 focus over 8 seconds like Dire Beast. Post Haste makes disengage free you from snares and roots and gives you a short movement speed buff. Bestial Fury increases the damage bonus of Bestial Wrath by 15%. Binding Shot is a good AoE stun. Murder of Crows does much more damage for BM than the other specs because it scales well with your mastery. For the most part, Crows should be used on cooldown, though you should save it a few seconds for other cooldowns, or if you can reset it by using it on an enemy that will die within its duration. Killer Cobra makes Cobra Shot reset the cooldown of your kill command during Bestial Wrath. For AoE situations, you want to take Dire Stable, which gives you more focus to work with because multi-shotting takes so much. Stomp makes your Dire Beasts AoE when they charge in. Blink Strikes doubles the damage of your pet's auto attacks, which means increased Beast Cleave damage as well. Volley makes your auto attacks AoE. I would only recommend going pure AoE talents in easier dungeons and low-level Mythic Plus. For Tyrannical, I like to go pure single target talents, and for Fortified, I only swap out Way of the Cobra for Dire Stable. All of the relics with damage traits are worth taking over a relic with a defensive trait that has a couple more item level. Relics with the traits Jaws of Thunder and Pack Leader are better than a defensive relic that is 9 item levels higher. In 725 those traits are being lowered a bit, but will still be worth taking unless weapon item level scaling is changed for BM. Be sure to check if a new high item level relic is worth slotting over a lower one with a good trait. Beast Mastery doesn't have a lot of buttons to begin with, and all of the talents are either passives or cooldowns, which leads to a straightforward rotation. Dire Frenzy and Kill Command should be kept on cooldown. Always have enough focus to cast Kill Command right as it comes up, and try and avoid having Dire Frenzy cap your focus. There will be times when you should cast it to avoid having it sit off cooldown, even if it caps your focus. And only Cobra Shot if Kill Command's on cooldown and you need to get rid of some focus. There is some added complexity when Dire Frenzy has 2 charges. You want to keep up and stack the 8-second haste buff for as long as possible. To do this, you should cast 2 to 4 spells after casting Dire Frenzy. This both buys time on the buff and spends the focus from the previous Dire Frenzy. And don't forget that Dire Frenzy reduces the cooldown of Bestial Wrath, so you should hold off casting it if Bestial Wrath is a few seconds from coming off cooldown. If it lines up, try and have at least 1 Dire Frenzy charge ready for cooldowns, but don't risk wasting a proc if you don't have to. For multiple targets, you want to have enough focus to cast multi-shot every 4 seconds to keep up Beast Cleave. If Beast Cleave is up, cast Dire Frenzy. If there are a lot of targets that you want to be cleaved down evenly, then use your excess focus on multi-shot and avoid Kill Command entirely. If there are 2 to 3 targets, you can spend focus on Kill Command, but only if you have enough to keep up Beast Cleave. Tier sets, legendaries, talents, and convergence put a lot of your DPS in your cooldowns. Managing your cooldowns properly is important to getting the most out of your damage. You should enter Bestial Wrath with as much focus as you can. During Bestial Wrath, you will alternate kill commands and Cobra shots while also following the rules of when to cast Dire Frenzy. Aspect of the Wild isn't that great of a cooldown, but it is very nice when paired with Bestial Wrath because you won't run out of focus. With Convergence and the Legendary Bracers, you'll be able to pair the cooldowns a lot more, and you should hold Aspect of the Wild a few seconds to line it up with Bestial Wrath. The artifact trait Thunder Slash is made stronger if you have Dire Frenzy stacks up during Aspect of the Wild. For the start of an encounter, you want to pre-pop before the pole, cast Murder of Crows on the pole, Bestial Wrath and Kill Command, use your first Dire Frenzy, Cobra Shot and Aspect of the Wild, Kill Command, Titan's Thunder, then your second Dire Frenzy. Now alternate Cobra Shot and Kill Command until you can cast Dire Frenzy again to refresh the buff. Mastery is your best secondary stat, followed by Haste, then Crit, and finally Verse. The stat weights shown are a good place to start from. Both the Nighthold and Tomb of Sargeras tier sets are based around Bestial Wrath. The Nighthold set buffs your pet during Bestial Wrath and makes the cooldown reduction of Dire Frenzy even bigger. The Tomb of Sargeras set buffs your damaging abilities during Bestial Wrath. One of the best trinkets for BM pre-Tomb is Bloodthirsty Instinct. Even at item level 880, this trinket is very strong. Another trinket to look out for is Convergence. It is great when combined with the Legendary Bracers if you are using them. Pre-725, the Mantle of Command is about as impactful as a legendary gets. With Dire Beast and Frenzy getting 2 charges baseline in the patch, these shoulders have gone through many changes, and I'm not sure where they will land once the patch is live. In the current build, they give your pet a passive damage buff. The Legendary Belt smooths out your Bestial Wraths by lowering the focus cost of your abilities, and the Legendary Bracers Call of the Wild reduce the cooldown of all of your aspects by 35%. Again, these can be strong when paired with the trinket Convergence of Fate. Not a whole lot of UI work is needed for Beast Mastery. I like my focus bar having markers that show when I have enough focus to cast my abilities and where I should stop spamming. A link to my focus bar is in the description. Despite Beast Mastery being a simple rotation, I've found some fun with the spec. Maybe that's due to the high single target damage or to being a nice change of pace for marks. Pre-Tomb of Sargeras BM was too reliant on legendaries, so it's great to see that Blizzard is making the second charge of Dire Beast baseline to the spec. The second charge of Dire Frenzy changed the rotation to be about juggling buffs, focus, and cooldowns instead of just hitting 2 buttons as they pop up. Increasing Kill Command's range to 40 yards is also a huge plus, as this will ease a lot of pain when trying to swap to adds. Let me know if this video has helped you learn more about Beast Mastery Hunter and prepare for the changes in 7.2.5. And as always, thank you for watching.